premium or like amount made as a consideration for use or occupation of the right to use or occupy land and building. That is basically what we look at. A tenant is that person who occupies another person's property for a consideration. And once there is a consideration, that is where we come in. Because we are very clear, there is income. Definitely in these transactions, we expect a landlord to some extent. And this is the person who lets out this immovable property. I insist immovable, because that's where the definition of rental income goes. They rent it out to another person who is a tenant for a consideration. Our story starts there. That is where we start, because we need to ascertain which income is coming out and from what. So at the end of the day, when the two agree, what is paid to the landlord is the rental income. And in the event that this income is not exempted, that is why we come in and request you to give us a penny from that income. It's a total amount of rent that you derive from letting out immovable property within Uganda. That's land and building. So we have definitions of rental tax. These are premised in section 5 of the Income Tax Act, Cap 340. It is clear, very clear there that subject to and in accordance with this act, a tax shall be charged for each year of income. That is why I demand a return each year. Provisionally when the year is moving, and at the end of the year, that's the final return. And this is imposed on every person who has rental income for the year of income. When I talk about a person, I am looking at an individual and a non-individual in this respect. We have a number of players in this sector. We have those that are landlords, those that are players in the sector, those that sell and buy. We have the surveyors, the engineers, the architects, the lawyers, and probably others who provide services to you. So that is why we need to understand the sector more, to know who earns from who and how much profit. Normally when we speak about rental income tax, normally there is a thinking that there is a double taxation somewhere. When I come for rental income tax, and our colleagues in KCCA come for property tax, that is where the controversy is. Because it is coming from the same property, within the same year. So that is why I have those definitions. Rental income tax is paid to URA, whereas property tax is paid to local government. And in this case, in Kampala, it's KCCA. Outside Kampala, divisions and municipal councils. Rental income tax is only paid when a person is letting out immovable property to another person and is earning from it, because you could let out and somebody doesn't pay. But when we have proof that you received income, that is when we expect the tax. Whereas property tax is paid by a landlord for a commercial building, excluding residentials, as long as it is occupied, and it does not matter even if it's a landlord occupying it. Here, this statement is very clear. When I say excluding residential, if the purpose you've put it to is residential, you sleep in it, and there is no income generated from it. That is what my statement means. It doesn't mean that when you have a tenant who sleeps in it, then it doesn't qualify. So I needed to be very clear. And at the end of the day, Uganda Revenue Authority, while you're computing income tax in your return, what you have paid as property tax is an allowable expense to us. Ideally, we tell you, reduce it as any other expense that you have incurred. Because it's one of the reasons why, or it's one of the expenses that have helped you to accrue the other income. So when I accept to reduce it by that, then it's no longer double taxation. Because it's like any other expense. When you incur on your property, once it is business related and it relates entirely to that business, you reduce it from there. And therefore you're not making any loss. But to take you back, in 2014-15, we were managing rental income tax in a little different way. We were telling you that in the event that you have business income and you have rental income from another source, you are putting everything together. But in 2014-15, we did what we call ring fencing. We ring fenced the rental ring income. Why? Because we don't want you to utilize expenses from business income to offset my rental income. Let me hope I'm clear. I don't want you to come and offset an expense where you paid probably for a transaction in your business and you come and offset it on my rental income. We want you to only offset rental expenses against rental income so that you can have the right chargeable income in the event that it is there. So we have a quick example here of how we compute rental income for a company or a non-individual. We are looking at expenses like cleaning, because some of these buildings you do the cleaning and fumigation, you have casuals who do it, you have expenses in fuel, generator, utilities and the like, depending on your agreement. And by the way, we encourage you to maintain tenancy agreements, because they'll help us a lot, me and you, so that we don't battle at the time we come to audit in the event that you have a building. It's very clear when you have that agreement. It tells us who pays what. Did you agree to pay the utilities, or it's on the other side? So it's equal, it's basically clear for us when we are trying to do our work. We have security, property rates, as I had initially told you. Then we want you to total up all the expenses. But effective this year, 2022, 2023, this is how we compute when you are an individual. You have income that you have sourced in rent of 40 million. Then you have expenses. Altogether it is 26.7 million. But the law tells you, I am allowing you only 50% as expenses on your income. That means it is 50% on 40 million. It will give me 20 million. Kindly offset it from the 40. Then the balance is what I'll charge to tax. And I'm charging it to 30% for 2022, 2023. As simple as that. The other balance that remained, you'll ask me what happens. Kindly carry it forward in the following year. Reason why we are capping, because our clients have become smarter. When we say offset everything, at the end of the year, I won't be mobilizing revenue because it won't be there. You can give me expenses that are even way above your income. So we've been operating in different regimes, and we looked at all those risks. That's why we are managing it in this way.
Now, that particular one is an update regarding the rental estate and rental income tax, where players in the sector, including landlords, brokers, surveys, inclusive of this particular discussion, and also pretty much a situation where you get to realize that rental income tax is quite different from property tax for those who want to at least understand, as the rental income is paid to URA and property tax is paid directly to the local government. But of course, these are all taxes that need to be paid in order to increase on the revenue mobilization of the country. Good morning indeed, how are you doing? You're watching Smart Means Business. It is the 31st of January, the last day of the month of January. It has been a long one indeed, but surely coming to an end, and the heat is still trying to tremble around within the different atmospheres across the country. But I do hope that you are making some good amends in regards to the business life. Well, as you're joining us here on Smart Means Business, we do ensure that we give you all the business updates as they are coming in real time. And also, so you know that investment can be done eventually with Zabu. Zabu gives you that advantage. Use the USSD code, *292#, follow the prompts, and definitely kickstart off your investment journey. Zabu is a platform by Altex East Africa, and it's definitely making it very easy for you to invest in that money. So invest in that space, make it visible and viable for you as well. With just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can invest in government bonds. Zabu, my money, my future. Altex East Africa, do something new. The markets open at 8:15 a.m. and close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. And please do note that these markets are only fully closed on weekends and on public holidays, but the rest of the time you can be able to invest in government bonds. Zabu, my money, my future. Okay, now let's get into the press review this morning. And with the press review, we have the Daily Monitor and the New Vision with us here. And the Daily Monitor has a headline revealing government has no power on school fees, according to what the lawyers have revealed. Why is this so? The Land Friends say that the proclamations by government officials that the education institutions that increase school fees face action are nothing but shadow boxing, because the repercussions are not speed in the law, according to the lawyers with this revelation. Then furthermore, the judges conference, President Museveni has told judges not to peg delivery of justice on money. This was with the 24th annual judges conference in Kampala yesterday. Now also, besides that, the NSSF probe kicks off today with workers and a whistleblower. That is another one that you could definitely want to read more about it. The police is set to issue strict guidelines to schools as the reopening already kicked off, and there is a raft of safety measures that are to be adhered by parents and schools to guarantee learners' safety as learning institutions reopen for the first term. And then also besides that, ICC said to slap more charges against rebel leader Kony. That is according to the Daily Monitor, also revealing more as that particular one. Now, on the other hand, is that government school fees order has been questioned. That is according to the Daily Monitor. And then also the Vice President, Jessica Alupo, has revealed to parents that they should not carry requirements to UPE schools. That should not be one of them, because it is a universal primary education. So that means government caters for the necessities or the requirements in there for the schools. Then in the Prosper magazine, back to school, spending is leaving parents in debt as they scramble to take their children back to schools for first time. Now, besides that, we head over to the New Vision this morning, as the government is set to recruit 4,900 extension workers. Now, this recruitment is to facilitate the parish development model, according to what the New Vision has highlighted this morning. Then also, on the other hand, President Museveni has opposed repatriation of foreign suspects. This was according to the 24th annual conference of the judges, which happened yesterday at the Mestil Hotel in Kampala. There's a pictorial and, of course, the discussions that were in there. And then also there is a guide on choosing the best secondary school, especially for the PLE for the PLE students after the results were released last week, so parents can actually go through here and see which schools are at least better in terms of money and good quality education for their children from senior 1 to senior 4 in the next 4 years of academics. Then Parliament is set to probe team and summon Biarugaba. This is according to the NSSF saga that is taking another twist in that same perspective. Then the finance minister has ordered public service payroll audit. So there's a special audit into the payroll for public servants and pensioners by government ministries, departments and agencies. This is according to what the New Vision has highlighted. So this is all we've got for the press review in regards to the world of business. Now we're crossing over to the traffic updates this morning with Barija Andrew to check out and see how the traffic flow is moving. And he's at Wandegea this particular morning at the Wandegea junction roundabout, and to clearly the Wandegea traffic lights rather, to clearly give us how the flow of traffic is and which route is best suitable for anyone who uses that same place as going to work. Let's get it with Barija Andrew.
All right, thank you very much, Joram, and a very good morning. And today we are standing just right here at the Wandegea traffic lights, trying to observe the traffic atmosphere, how the vehicles are moving just right here. And of course, the overall, I'll say it's not really that much congested. It's mildly congested. That's the overall observation that, like, I've been able to, to take a look as I've been around. And the traffic officers are the ones in full control of the traffic jam just right here. Now, if I look way back at my very back here, that's Makerere Road, you get to observe that actually for people that are connecting all the way from that area, for example, the people that are connecting via Sa Apollo, people staying in Nakulabye, some of them actually connect to that via route, you get to realize that it's actually very favorable for you in case you're coming to town or in case you're going to any destination that connects to this very junction. You will be in position to actually reach in the appropriate time. Very possible. It's not really as much congested as that much, and the vehicles held just in a few intervals. But remember, before you reach these very traffic lights, there are the other traffic lights at the Makerere main gate, just right there before you reach right here. In most cases, they cause a sudden congestion, whereby if you're released and you skip them, chances are high that you may come just right here, and again you'll be held back. But they're all smoothly moving. The vehicles are moving all the way from up there, and when they connect till here, it's very, very, very smooth, as you can observe right here. It's not really congested at all. So whatever destination that you're using, and it connects way right to this particular junction, at this particular traffic lights, chances are high that you will be in position to actually reach the appropriate time as you ought to reach. Still, if you look at the vehicles that are coming from the Kamocha route and they're heading towards Makerere Road, it's a very smooth flow as you're observing. So chances are high that if you're going to use Makerere Road for whatever destination you're heading to, and you're coming from areas like Kamocha and Tinda Mulago, it's going to be very, very efficient for you. Now we take a close look at Bombo Road. Yes, Bombo Road, of course. When we look at the personnel that use this particular route, majority we are talking about Kalere, Boise. Majority of them normally use this particular route, and it seems to be also at a smooth flow. There is not really any jam just right here. Probably, I don't know what could be the cause of this particular aspect. It's not always the actual occasion, but they're moving very smoothly. The vehicles are being held in an interval of about 5 to 3 minutes, and being controlled by the traffic officers controlling this particular congestion and the jam just right here, but not so held for long. They're not really spending a long time into the traffic jam. Of course, massive vehicles use this particular route, looking at buses, coasters, so many others, and it's very, very rude. Even borders inclusive. So, according to my observation just right here, it's moving really, really, really very, very smooth. So if you're coming from those particular areas, you're coming from Boise, you're coming from Kalere, and you're going to actually use the Bombo Road, connect to the Wandegea traffic lights, the Wandegea junction, and you're probably heading to town. It's quite a smooth flow for you. And if you're a business person and you're coming to execute whatever you're executing, it's going to be a very favorable moment for you. You will be in position to execute that business idea very, very appropriate, and yeah, nothing can really stop you from achieving what you intend to achieve at the end of the day. Of course, there are many vehicles here, but in a very organized way. I'm seeing quite many border still here, and not so many pedestrians. Yeah, because pedestrians also are one of the people that actually cause to congestion in a place, but there is not really so much congested. Now, if we are to stretch all the way to Kamocha Road, all that way, see, it's very clear lane. So for those people that are coming from town, as you can observe the vehicles that are coming from town and they're heading to Kamocha Mulago, yes, it's a smooth lane. It's a very smooth lane if I'm to observe. Unlike before this junction, from wherever they're coming from, it's a little congested, but in here, when they reach the one that gets traffic lights, it's a very smooth lane. So for whoever, some people actually use this very route heading to Ntinda. Yes, at the same time, some taxis, of course, come from town. They use this particular route, one day and Ntinda. Yeah, so chances are high that you will be in position to reach in time. Though the only disadvantage you might face is the traffic lights, the roundabout ahead, that's the Mulago roundabout, but it's not also really that congested at this particular time. Yeah, you might be in position to actually reach in whatever inappropriate time for you to execute your decision just right there. Now, if we are to observe still the vehicles coming from Mulago, Kamocha, and they're connecting to town, as you can see, it's also very clear. It's not as congested as such, and if you're coming from those areas and your ultimate plan is to actually execute business in town, you see that you will be in position to reach your destination in a very, very favorable moment. It's not really that congested. Yeah, heading to town. Look at the time the vehicles are being held in here. It's not really a very long time. Just about 23 minutes, and a very surprising aspect is that the line doesn't contain lots of vehicles. If I'm to observe just right here, if they're being held for just 2 to 3 minutes, it's not a very long, they're not held for long. It's not a very long line, let me say that. Unlike on certain aspects, when the vehicles are stopped in an interval, you find a very long line stretching all the way, but it's not the case here. It's not the case here. It's a very, very, very smooth. If you have to observe it just right there. So if you're coming from those areas, you will be in position to actually execute the business you're executing in the right time, in the appropriate time, let me say that. Now, if I'm to stretch back away from there as we head to, of course, the road heading to Kampala, connecting to Kampala Road, yeah, a very, 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 very smooth lane if you have to observe just right there, as we can observe. And like just ahead there, there is a slight congestion, but I think there are some other traffic lights just right here which control the vehicles. So that explains why you are able to see what you're seeing just right there. And that's it for the traffic updates this morning. I'm Andrew Barije, and back to studio with Joram.
Using the Wandegear route coming in from Chikoni areas, those who are actually coming in from the Azaro, Mulago, you can easily see that it's not that so busy for a day, Tuesday, but you can easily sketch your map so well if you're heading to town and see which route would be viable as you kickstart off your business day. You're watching Smart Means Business. When I do return after the break, I've got Karibu East Africa on the way, and also the SMB International updates this morning. I wish you would be sticking around with us as we give you more of those details coming in shortly.